a man whose primary focuses are grounded in beauty, art, and architecture. Roger Scruton is yet another unfortunate martyr to Britain's societal war on its traditions. It's a story we've all heard before, a fresh out of college journalist lying about objectively non-controversial comments. Roger Scruton sat down for an interview with New Statesman deputy editor George Eaton. He describes Scruton as unrepentant, claiming he made a variety of anti-Semitic, anti-Chinese, and whatever other bigoted comments one can conjure up in his interview with him. The result has been Mr. Scruton's firing from his advisory role to the government, a role that just pertained to architecture. Naturally, any honest observer would expect the transcript to be published alongside serious accusations like these. What the journalist instead published was a picture of himself swigging a bottle of champagne, celebrating the firing of the subject of his interview as a homophobe and racist. National Review contributor Douglas Murray received the recording of the interview after the New Statesman refused to release it. Only after it was revealed that Murray had acquired it through other means did they release a transcript in a half-baked effort to save face. The transcript reveals Mr. Scruton being asked about his description of homosexuality as being abnormal in his 1986 book. To honest observers, it should go without saying that being gay is pretty obviously a deviation from the norm at 4.5% of the population, something that even Mr. Eaton in agreement with. Mr. Scruton's full response was, "In that book, I say a lot of things about homosexuality, none of which could be conceived as what's now called homophobic. I actually argue that it's not a perversion and so on, but that it's different, and say why it's different. But then people take little sentences out of context, the sort of BuzzFeed, the learned editors of BuzzFeed who have their view on all these things, put together a kind of patchwork of offenses without bothering to examine arguments or anything like that. So you get caricatured as a particular kind of thing, as though you were somebody who wanted to stone homosexuals to death or something just because you said that it's different." Predictably, the description of learned BuzzFeed cosmopolitans taking little sentences out of context is even more applicable to the very interview he was giving. Eaton, after all, was making patchwork of this entire interview. In another instance, Mr. Scruton is asked about his concerns for our future, and he describes a looming specter of China. "I think there are difficulties around the corner that we're ignoring, like the rise of China. There's something quite frightening about the Chinese sort of mass politics and the regimentation of the ordinary being. We invent robots, and they're in a sense creating robots out of their own people by so constraining what can be done, that each Chinese person is kind of a replica of the next one. And that's a very frightening thing. Maybe I don't know enough about it to be confident in making that judgment, but the politics is like that, and the foreign policy is like that, and the concentration camps have come back, largely there to re-educate the Muslims and so on. All of these are perfectly fair and prescient concerns about the Chinese nation, but clearly misrepresented as calling the Chinese people robotic rather than the systems of China. As the full context was being exposed, George Eaton finally put up a follow-up statement, apologizing for his social media champagne celebration, but standing by his outright lies about Roger Scruton's beliefs. What's permitted the devolution of Britain to a nation that judges by mob rule is the spinelessness of allegedly conservative politicians and their cowardice when encountering the faintest scent of controversy. Not one of them, ranging from prominent conservative MPs such as former Chancellor of the Exchequer George Osborne, Danny Finkelstein, MP Johnny Mercer, James Brokenshire, dare to challenge the outright lies published by the New Statesman. Despite the truth now being known, the damage has been done, and it's unlikely at best that Mr. Scruton's position will be restored, while a virtual nobody has been empowered to drag down one of the country's most profound defenders. When you realize that the unwitting public will continue to swallow without question defamation and slander as long as it's published in an old magazine, you begin to wonder how long this can go on before journalists are held to account and punished in a real way.